off after Nick asks a question.
That's very helpful.
It's not a lot to know. That nicer depends on who you're talking to.
Alright, everyone, listen up.
Make something up.
Better make sure I
Just
have
say
it right.
non-applicable.
What did you talk about?
Let's talk about it. Pros, cons, things you liked, things you didn't like. Brielle.
Are we doing pros and cons of the whole conversation or pros and cons of the kind of thing?
Either. Both.
Oh, I just have something to say about the very last thing, about China having nice people in Colombia. I'm just saying, niceness depends on who you talk to. There can be like a really old, grumpy Chinese guy who stepped in his noodles this morning and is in a very bad mood. So they eat on the ground, right? So he's in his noodles or whatever, and he's in a really bad mood. So you're like, oh, all the Chinese people are angry over there. No, that one guy just had a bad day.
Let's listen to Micaiah.
When we go to the store, we run into a lot of people. Like we can run into one of the workers stacking their shelves, and like we can just have a full-on conversation.
Absolutely.
So it really depends on who you run into, because like you need to argue like people here.
Hannah.
Well, mine's about like the whole Socratic seminar. Like,
Yeah.
Well, I think like before we do it, we should like take everyone's view on it, because I feel like this group mostly had people that was for it, and the other group had people that was against it. So it was kind of hard to like have a variety of like opinions.
So kind of hearing where people stand before the conversation starts.
Yeah.
That's very coincidental that all of us are for it.
Okay, so let's take a poll now. After the Socratic, raise your hand if you would say that yes, urbanization has made us better off. Raise them high.
No question.
1, 2, 3. Okay, 8. Raise your hand if no, it has not made us better off. 6, raise your hand if you're still unsure.
It's not a yes or no question. It's not that I'm not unsure. It's just it's not a yes or no question.
It's like
You think that there's a lot of different dimensions to it?
Yeah. Like the whole thing about New York, like, yeah, it's a good thing. A lot of business gets done there. It's good for a reason. And then there's like little places like Harrisburg where they do all the little stuff that helps the big cities. And they're not mega cities, but they help the big cities. But then there's a lot of population, there's a lot of pollution in New York, which isn't good for everybody. So it's not like it's not a yes or no question.
I feel like without urbanization, like everybody kept saying that crime rate would go down. I feel like without urbanization, people would be more uneducated, and more uneducated people will make dumber decisions, which will cause crime rate to actually go up.
Crime is gonna happen whether we're in whatever or not. It's gonna happen.
So do we think that urbanization and crime are linked? Or
I don't think so. Crime is happening. All that stuff's happened since the beginning of time. Like the minute man was made, people were breaking rules and crap. It's always been a part of us.
It's just human nature.
Yeah, to break rules because you wanna. It's just that feeling inside you. Like they tell me not to touch the walls, but I want to touch. If you take a tour of the White House and you go to the green room, you're not supposed to touch the walls. No one's touching the walls. It's like, please don't touch the walls.
And now you're like, why can't we touch the walls?
And they're like, the paper will peel. We're just like, I don't really want to touch these walls.
I feel like without urbanization, it would be more of like a state of nature where everybody's just doing what they can to contribute. And like I kind of agree, like in government, we talk about Thomas Paine, he says the state of nature is a state of war. I agree because I feel like everybody was doing what they felt like they needed to do. People's decisions are totally different from the next person.
Awesome. Allie, you've had your hand up for a while.
Oh, I don't know. The essential question says, has urbanization made us better off? Well, you can't really, there is no really like yes or no answer to it, because there's good things that have happened, like new jobs and stuff. There's also bad things that have happened, like crime rates go up and, slums and, all that crazy stuff. So, kind of got to weigh the pros and cons.
If you had to come up with a new essential question, if we were going to do another Socratic, what question would you ask? Adriana.
I would say, like, what places of urbanization or what sections of urbanization have affected us in a good way or in a bad way? Because it's too broad of a question. Like, there's like urbanization, but then there's like crime, there's population, there's the density, it all affects us either in a good or a bad way. It's just a broad question.
Looking at like the different aspects of it in turn instead of just giving you the has urbanization made us better off go. Akaya.
I would say like, what are your opinions on how urbanization affected us?
Okay, what are your opinions on how urbanization has affected us?
What are the pros and cons of urbanization?
What are the pros and cons of urbanization? Maria, did you have something to add?
Well, I kind of feel like it's not like a bad question that you asked because like it made us like think kind of like more in depth of it and like think of both sides of it instead of just having like, oh, I have to focus on the pros and then oh, I have to focus on the cons. Like it made us think of like both.
It gave you room to go kind of wherever you wanted to go with it.
Yeah.
Brielle.
What are the differences between the megacities? Because like Natalia said, Chicago is not like New York, and New York's not like Chicago, but they're both mega cities. Like when you think of big cities, you automatically think, oh yeah, Chicago, St. Louis, New York, and LA. Like those are like the ones that you just think of off the bat. Like, but when you go to Chicago, there's more like houses and there's more like I don't know, like you can't find a house in New York City. But in Chicago, it's more likely to find a house. Like, I don't know.
St. Louis is big neighborhood in St. Louis too.
Yeah, each city kind of has its own personality, so it's kind of hard to say, has urbanization overall made us better off? Like maybe we need to look at some specific examples, like has urbanization made New York better off? Has urbanization made Chicago better off? So maybe looking at different aspects of it, looking at different examples of urbanization. Any other comments about the Socratic? Adriana.
The one thing I thought was bad about the Socratic, like I didn't like about it, was even though when I was like, when either I was talking or someone else was talking, especially in the second conversation, I think that there were a lot of smirks and like non-good things, like not comments, but like facial expressions and like rude things, rude ways about like what someone was saying.
Okay.
Sometimes, I'm gonna be honest, sometimes when I'm listening to other people's opinion and it's not my opinion, I could like, my face will just like get a questioning look or like sometimes I'll like smirk, but I don't mean to, it just happens.
It's just something you don't even
Yeah,
realize.
it's
You're
like,
I feel like some of the comments were already, like, Rice Road isn't as bad as you tried to make it seem.
yeah,
So
I hate
I
people
felt
talk
like-
about Rice Road like,
Yeah, I feel like you just, like, overdid it, so my attitude towards it was a little off, because you were like, gunshots. I feel like there was only, like, one real shooting on Rice Road, so it's
and
not like,
Rice Road's kind of like Bear Creek. Bear Creek used to be like, oh, don't go to Bear Creek, but now it's like, who lives in Bear Creek?
yeah, like,
Yeah,
it's not as bad.
That's
And everybody talks about
I mean, I
movies,
understand
movies
if you
on
said
movies.
this last summer.
Yeah.
Whoa, that
That
was
was
too
different.
much, but it moved on. It moved on to another section of Columbia. So you can't really say that about Rice Road. Like,
Maria.
I don't know what I was gonna say, but I think the first one was more like everybody was more interactive into it, and then the second one.
The second one's more dominant.
Yeah, because the first one you got to like everybody got to share what they thought, and like the second one, I feel like they didn't want to repeat what the first group was talking about, so they kind of like shifted it and like didn't have as much to talk about.
It's interesting to see how the dynamics change from group to
Because-
group. Because now that I've seen 4 different groups talk about it, each group's gone in a different direction with it, and everything's been so different.
In the first group, the people that are in the second group now gave a lot of their opinions to their partners, and now they're like, well, I gave them all my good opinions, what am I going to say now?
Right. Okay, any other final thoughts? All right, finish filling out those sheets, and I will take them whenever you are done. Thank you guys, you did an awesome job today.